Welcome, fellow Stardust. Are you ready for a scare? Welcome, everybody. Give me 1 second here while I close the other window that is giving me an echo. So welcome again. I am so excited to talk to you guys about my top 5 IFC Midnight Movies with my guest who will be joining me today. Let's go ahead and introduce them. First, we have the IFC master himself, the IFC Midnight leader, Patrick of Have Cheetah Will View. Welcome, Patrick. How you doing?
I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having us. Yeah, we're ready to rock and roll.
Yes, let's get it. And next up, we have the lovely and the beautiful and the spooky Miss Mama Monster. Hello. Welcome.
For having me.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for being here. And last but absolutely not least, one of my OG friends on YouTube from way back in the day when I started my channel, all the way from across the Atlantic Ocean, we have Ian from the Polter Guy. What's up? Thank you for being here.
Ray, how are you? It's a pleasure to be here, and it's great to get to meet all these other horror aficionados. So I'm really excited about that. So thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Yes. Thank you all so much for being here. So for the next about 15 minutes, we're going to just go ahead and shoot this shit and just talk a little bit about the movies that we've last seen in the past couple of weeks or so, while we give people a chance to go ahead and trickle on into the live stream. So let's just go around the table, and whoever wants to start actually can just go ahead and pop off. So let me know anybody who has seen anything interesting or worth talking about. Go ahead. Where did my video go? Oh, there I am. Okay. Go ahead, and whoever wants to start can start. We'll go with
after
yes.
you, Patrick. Go ahead. You are the leader, the Midnight King.
Me? Well, I'm just one of the. Well, let's see. What have I watched the last couple of weeks? So I'm doing a 31 days of Halloween. So I have to do 31 movies, and I'm watching them now and putting them, getting ready for October. And I just got done watching Lizzie Borden Took an Axe.
Okay.
So
awesome.
A little true crime into my Halloween selection. That was the movie that with Christina Ricci was in it.
Oh, she was? Okay.
I was going to ask, because I feel like there's a good amount of those movies, right?
Right. Lizzie Borden, all kinds of adaptations, right?
Oh, yeah. She was she might have been the first celebrity killer in America, that got notorious for that crime.
Yeah.
Even though she was acquitted, but was she really, did she do it or not? And evidence is pretty heavy. It's just the way that the courts ran those days, and you had to have, and her lawyers raised reasonable doubt, and so she was able to get off with it. But she's the only person that could have did it.
I definitely need to see that one, especially because of Christina Ricci, the queen, for sure. Hell yeah. Awesome. Okay. All right, Lydia, how about you? What have you seen lately?
I think the latest movie I saw was The Killer Book Club on Netflix. I don't know what country it's from, but it's they speak Spanish. It wasn't that great, but but it was still interesting but laughable, and they took a lot of ideas from a lot of movies like Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer, and just so on and so forth.
Awesome. Okay, that looks cool. Interesting enough. I mean, it does have a 4.6 on IMDb, but that doesn't always mean anything, because I love lots of 4 points and 5 points, whatever. You did say it sucked, but I could see where it has, some positives, maybe here and there. Was there a movie that you recently saw that you did like?
It's crazy because I usually watch so many movies, but lately, because I've been moving all year, but I just moved in July, so I haven't been watching anything really. I've just been reading. Well, not even reading, just listening. I think I just finished Clown in the Cornfield 2.
Okay.
So that was really good. But
I do wish I read a lot more books because, it is a different feeling, a different experience. And
right.
I read back in the day because I had to as a kid growing up. And I just don't
Same.
really find the time to read, now as an adult. Like I should, but, I read little stories like on Reddit and things like that. But
Right.
yeah, it's a completely different world. And seeing, your favorite books be adapted to movies is just like a gratifying, amazing
that,
feeling, So yeah, totally. All right, Ian, how about you? What's the most recent thing you've seen, liked, or disliked?
Yeah, so a bit like Patrick, I've been on a true crime kind of a binge, and I'm finding human beings scarier each day, and some of the stuff that goes on in the
Yeah.
world is crazy. So I recently watched a short. It's a short film called Detainment. It's a British film, and it's basically about two 10-year-olds that kidnap a toddler and brutally murder him.
Oh
And it's actually
no.
based on a true story.
Oh,
It's
wow.
actually an
Why
event that happened
though?
in,
Right.
yeah, it's an event that happened in 1993. A little toddler called James Bulger was taken away from we say shopping center, but a shopping mall. So his mum was in a shop and he was standing outside, and two 10-year-olds that were skipping school decided to take him away. And when they took him away, they absolutely tortured him. And
Oh.
and the interesting thing about it is that for a long time, Child's Play 3 was actually the blame for that murder, because the one of the 10-year-olds had watched it recently, and had killed or had injured the little boy the same way Chucky gets killed at the end with a ton of paint. He
What in
gets
the
his face
world?
smashed in with a ton of paint. So it's on there. It's on Netflix. You'll be able to check it out. It's a Vince Lamb film. It was nominated for an Oscar for short and stuff, but it's very controversial because the mum, the mother of the little boy, was on a lot of TV shows here in the UK back in 2018, 2019, sort of contesting it, saying, "Listen, we you didn't approach us or ask us about making this film." So, and it's very it hits hard and it stays with you, that film. And it's because the little boy looks just like him, and the two
Oh.
little 10-year-olds look like the two when they were 10 back then. So it's a hard hitting one, but it's about half an hour long, but it's really good and it stays with you, and the acting is absolutely amazing.
Wow. That's
Right.
heartbreaking. Did they say why, like what their motivation was or what?
No, it was one of those things. There's a great scene in it when one of the little boys is being interviewed or interrogated by the police, and he talks about what happened to him, and trying to explain to 10-year-old how they could tell what happened, without going into too much detail with sort of disturbing. And the little boy says, "Oh, did they bring him back to life? Because I heard he was cut in half by a train." So ultimately,
Oh
whenever they
my
beat him up and knocked him out,
goodness.
they left him on a train track, and then a train had run over him. But
Oh my
he
gosh.
thought that they brought him back to life again. But honestly, you see in the 30 minutes of that film, it's such an emotional roller coaster, but it's absolutely brilliant. And I think it's like Patrick said, these real life stories kind of being sort of brought into sort of mainstream film now. It's good. I think we can only do the fictional thing for so long before it kind of gets a bit tiresome. But that being said, it's really good. It's on Netflix. Check it.
Okay.
Detainment.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. If you what was the name of it? I'll type it into the chat
Yeah,
actually.
it's called Detainment.
Detainment.
Yep,
Okay.
DETAINMENT.
Perfect. Awesome. So everybody can see that and check that out. Awesome. Yeah, speaking of true crime, I'm working on a true crime video. I haven't done a true crime video in a very long time. I started my channel doing true crime horror movies and narrations. So for Spooktober, my third annual Spooktober Fest or Spooktober special, sorry, it will be a festival maybe one day. But for my special, I'm working on an Ed Gein video just talking about his history and all the movies and characters that he inspired. And, it's a pretty well-known case, but when you just really delve into the details again and just get really nitty-gritty with it, it's just so insanely sad and just so depraved and jacked up, man. It's just nasty as hell, too. So working on that video, and yeah, it's like you feel bad for these people. It's crazy how you can feel bad for these literally insane, murderous people, you know? So, and it just comes from other people being abused, and it's just usually a line of, you know, shit from down the line. Sometimes it's, you know, the first generation of somebody, you know, going off and doing their own thing, but a lot of times, more times than not, it's a generational thing, which is just incredibly freaking sad. So yeah, for me, the last couple of films that I seen, one was The Blackening. I finally saw The Blackening. That was really good. I laughed my ass off. The O'Reilly's theme song was like one of the best moments in that movie that just got me, because I literally sing that song just on a whim all the damn time. That shit was too funny. And then I also saw Spoonful of Sugar, which is a Shudder original. And I had been wanting to watch it for a while and kept putting it off. Finally did. And the beginning part of it is like really exciting. That their first 30 minutes are really good, and it's creepy, and it's just got great lighting and cinematography. But the ending does kind of like make things fall off a bit. I wanted, I guess, a little bit more from what was happening, but then it kind of just like it. I don't know how to explain it without giving away too much, but they try to give you a different kind of satisfaction, but for me, it just left me wanting more, and it wasn't, I guess, in a weird way, creepy enough. I don't know, but the whole movie itself was pretty entertaining, even though there were moments where I was like, are they serious, or are they trying to make us laugh with this like goofiness of this girl being attracted to this man? Because it was just kind of silly sometimes, but they did really good with creating the mood, and this character, the lead of that movie, the nanny essentially, or the babysitter you could call her, she was great. Like, she was what kept me just wanting to keep watching the movie, because she was excellent. So before we get into our top 5, let me go ahead and say hello to our chat real quick over here. We had Michael who popped in first. What's up, Michael, with your 2 little ghosts there? Hello. And we've got Insane One, another OG in the house. What's up, Insane One? Thank you so much for being here. Let's see. Yes, so many Halloween movies to come out. I'm so excited for so many more other movies to come out. Yes, we've had a pretty disappointing, I think, horror year this year compared to maybe 22. But I have a feeling September, October might bring a little heat. So maybe it might level things out. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Definitely.
I can tell you this. There's a couple of movies I can tell you right now that'll definitely make this year stand on its head, and that's
okay. Yes, tell us.
Brightwood that came out in Cinephobia releasing. That's the best movie I've seen this year.
One word?
Yes, one word.
Okay.
Brightwood. And then there's another movie that Cinephobia released called The Glass Table. But that one there, be careful, because that one is really disturbing.
Uh-oh.
We like that, right?
Right?
Yeah, it's so good though. But man, it'll stay with you forever.
All right. Poltergeist. Ian says, what's up, Mickey T? Do you guys know each other?
That's the other polter guy.
Oh,
Michael,
yes. Yes,
he
OG.
He retired
Oh,
from-
yes, he did.
he left
What's
Army
up,
Hammer.
Michael? Hello. So good to see you. Let's see. I missed. Okay, here we go. Dice. What's up, Dice? Bonjour. How you doing? All right. And we've also got Casey in the house. What's up, Interweb Kaiju? Hey, IFCers at work. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Yes. Oh, man, Michael, it's been a minute since I've seen your face. Awesome. All right. Well, let's go ahead then and get right into it. So we will start with Patrick. And we're going from our, like I was telling, my guests earlier before we went live, it's really hard to rank movies. If you like a movie, you'll like a movie. Yes, you could sometimes put one above the other. But sometimes when you have a group of movies, it's hard to put them in like a serious chronological order, because some of them are just like equally, they're completely different. One might be better quality than the other. but they are just loved equally. And also to go on top of that, so this is an IFC Midnight Top 5 list, but there might be a film or two on one of our lists, or a couple of our lists, where it might not be an IFC Midnight movie, but it's still dark, creepy, or weird, or just disturbing in a way. Because IFC, started back in the day, like, not too long ago. IFC Midnight has only been around since 2010, and IFC film started just a few years before that. But they always kind of were, drawn toward independent and just genre type movies. So there might be a couple movies in here that aren't labeled IFC Midnight, but are still, creepy and dark and interesting. And what else was I going to say about that? Also, we haven't, obviously, none of us, maybe Patrick, I'm not sure, but we've not seen all of the IFC Midnight movies. We haven't seen the entire catalog, but these are our top 5 movies so far. There are a ton of movies that I really want to see, and they're just, at the top of my watch list. But for right now, these are the ones that I go to and that I'll watch repeatedly, even 4, 5, 6, 10 times. But Patrick, question, how many of the IFC Midnight or IFC films have you seen? All of them or half of them?
Well, IFC has released over 1,000 movies.
Right.
in
Okay.
IFC
So
Midnight.
all of them?
I have 246 in my collection.
Okay.
So,
Awesome.
well, I have seen quite a few.
Yes. Yes.
We make our way through. It's really good. They cover the spectrum. All the way from family dramas to comedies to documentaries to straight out horror.
Yes, exactly. Which is one of the reasons why I love, IFC, because it does cover a wide spectrum of things, but it's also, I feel like it has just a certain vibe to it. I just love the vibe of IFC, of the films they, get to work with even after it's already made, and the films that they actually produce from the ground up. They just have a vibe that I've always enjoyed. So I'm excited to do this countdown with you, especially, and with everybody that I have here today. So let's go ahead and start with you with your number 5, your, least favorite of our 5.
My honorable mention, or
yes, no, you're right. Our honorable mentions. Let's all mention our honorable mentions. You're exactly right.
Well, I'm going to cheat a little bit because I know this is coming down the pike, and you could talk about it a little bit. But my first honorable mention will be The Devil's Candy.
Yes, very good. Yes,
this is a fantastic film, and it's amazing. Dark as hell, but I don't want to talk about it too much because I know that you're doing it in a couple of days, which I will be there to watch. But I will say it's a great movie to pick, to cover, to deep dive on. So that's my first honorable mention, The Devil's Candy.
Awesome. I'm going to say something real quick and you can tell us the rest of yours. But yes, The Devil's Candy is a movie that I'm reviewing, or it's a review that's coming out on Friday. I've already done it. And it's a subscriber request or a patron request from my patron, Mr. Dan. So yeah, I recently watched it and loved it. And yes, it's definitely on my top. It's in the top 10 I would feel right now, or I'd say top 15 of my IFC Midnight films. It's got what's his name? Embry. What's his name again?
Ethan Embry.
Ethan Embry, who I absolutely love, and he just does an amazing job in that movie. And it's just dark, creepy, and weird. I had a really good time with it. It's a really fun movie. So keep an eye out for that in about 2 days. All right, and what are your other honorable mentions?
Next up we have Haunter.
Okay, nice. I haven't seen that one yet.
This is so good. And also establishes Stephen McHattie, who's in this movie, establishes him as an absolute horror icon. He never gets mentioned in anybody's movies or reviews or anything, but this guy has been making quality movies for years, and he's in this one along with Abigail Breslin, who I absolutely adore.
Okay.
Awesome. Let's see. My other one is, this was from IFC, and this is some of these we covered on the IFC Midnights, but I still love them so much, so I brought them here. This is Cold in July. this should have been IFC Midnight, but it wasn't. It was IFC, but it is a banger of a film. I miss a wrong identity turns into a mystery wrapped up in a horrible crime, and
Okay.
cast is awesome.
Love it. By the way, I love
Um,
how you have all the like not the cassette tapes. How old? Okay, I love how you have all the DVD covers with your honorable mention. I'm sure you'll have that for your top 5 too. Very cool. Of course you do. Of course.
yeah. This is a movie that Casey might remember if he's still here, but we watched this together. I told him about it, and it's one of my favorites. This is the first IFC film I ever reviewed, and it's called The Dead Room.
Nice. Okay.
This is a really good film too, and what I really liked about it, and we talked about it, was the fact that most of the time, when you have characters in a haunted house, like Ghostbusters, they're always really young kids, and there's really no sense of realism. And this one, what they did was they used an adult cast, and it adds so much more gravitas to it. It seems real.
Okay.
The Dead Room,
I
and
like
that's
that
from New
cover.
Zealand. That's from New Zealand. And then my last honorable mention, and it could have easily made my top 5, but I love this movie so much, and that is Werewolves Within. Wow, this is so much fun.
Okay. Is it a comedy as well?
I absolutely love this movie. This movie is crazy, and it's fun, and very funny too. And highly recommend it. And believe it or not, this came out on IFC as well instead of IFC Midnight, which we couldn't understand. But this is definitely would fit into IFC Midnight.
Is it comedy horror?
Yeah, it's comedy
Okay.
horror.
Awesome. Okay.
So those are
Fun.
my 5 honorable mentions.
All right. Very cool. All right. And how about for you, Lydia? What are your honorable mentions, if you have any?
I think. Well, I have contracted. I
Oh,
think
yes.
that was really close to being on my top 5.
Why wasn't it?
I don't know. It was hard. I know it was like right there.
Come on.
What else I have? In Their Skin.
Skins. I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I really like that one. It's like kind of like because I love home invasions, and that's kind of
okay.
And stuff with little plot twist in there. And then what do I have? High Lane and Killing Ground. I think Killing Ground was really disturbing, but those I enjoyed.
Do you like those too, Patrick?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
Killing Ground is that's a really good one.
Yeah.
Perfect. How about for you, Ian? What are your honorable mentions?
Yeah, I'm just going to give one honorable mention. And,
Okay.
It's a film that absolutely blew my mind, and it didn't make the list, and I'm kind of regretting now. Better than at least one of them, and it's called The Pledge or Pledge.
Okay.
It's about a group of freshmen start college or university and end up going to a frat house and being put through a grueling X number of days through booze and torture.
Hazing.
Hazing, that's it.
Yeah.
But it takes it to the next level. It's really dark, but it's such a great film. I remember watching it on TV. It was on TV one evening, and over here we have a thing called Sky Television. It's a bit like cable, I think, in the States. And there's like loads and loads of like these really kind of dodgy horror films that are on on a lot of these free channels. And this was on one night, and my mind was blown. Couldn't believe it. So. Yeah, Pledge, really, really good film, and it's one that I would definitely recommend.
Awesome. Well, I have 5 honorable mentions, and they are I just wrote them down. This is the first time I listened. They are in no particular order, but Human Centipede 2 almost made it into my top 5, but I really didn't want to do any sequels in my top 5. I was like, okay, well, I'll just take out the sequels and then bump up everything else. But Human Centipede 2 is probably one of my top 5 IFC Midnight films so far, as disgusting as it is, but I love it. The guy is just perfectly disgusting, and I love how it's in black and white, and then we get brown at the end when the shit starts flying everywhere. I fucking love that shit. So good.
Okay, so I have a question for you.
Yes.
I have a question for you. After watching Human Centipede, I'm sure you've seen the first one, right?
Right. Yes.
Does the Centipede movie, after watching it, did it make Silence of the Lambs suddenly look like a cartoon?
Yes. Yes. It makes
Yeah.
everything a cartoon.
Yeah.
That and Terrifier just makes everything be like, you know, and the
Mhm.
sadness. It's like, okay, everything else is just trying to
yeah.
skate by, you know,
Yeah.
to be proper and okay, you know, but nah, that just takes things to a whole new level.
You see Anthony Hawkins as Dr. Lecter, and before you're scared as hell, like, ooh, now you look at him and go like, yeah, whatever. You know, like,
Well, because they don't show it in the film though, but it had we seen, you know, what Hannibal Lecter was doing and exactly like we saw a little bit of what Buffalo Bill was doing, but they didn't put a whole lot of that on camera, you know, but yeah, it's yeah, that's just a whole new level. And Tom Six, you know, he thought of that as like, you know, a torture method, and you know, was thinking of Nazi experimentation that was going down in Germany, and you know, he was like, oh well, this would be the perfect punishment for a child molester doing this to them. You know, so at least his heart was in the right place and thinking of this disgusting you know, contraption, if you want to call it that, whatever situation you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I just love it. And I love how he sets it up to be like a typical horror film where a person breaks down on the road in the rain and they gotta go get somebody's help, and then it turns into something completely different that you would never ever imagine in your whole freaking life. Anyway, we'll get into that later because anyways, we'll get into that later. So Would You Rather is another one. Would You Rather is just the freaking bomb. So on the other side of that, where they show a lot of shit in Human Centipede, this is an example of where they don't show a whole lot of what's going on with all the gruesome scenes, but you just get the idea of it because they get close to showing it, and then you just have to use your imagination for the rest of it because they cut away. But you know, and you can feel, and the tension's just built right to where it's awesome. Anyways, I love Would You Rather. I have a review on that one if y'all want to check it out. It's in the link below in the description. I also have Autopsy of Jane Doe, which was a subscriber request back in the day, which I liked. Also, a link down below for that. I also loved ATM with Josh Peck, where they're just stuck at an ATM where a serial killer's just there hanging around. You know, it's stupid and whatever, but they just do it really well. I love that one. Also, Rent-A-Pal. Rent-A-Pal is a recent one, and it doesn't have like super high ratings for me or anything, but like I just loved the ride the entire time through it, even though the ending should have happened a little bit sooner and then carried on from there. That's my main complaint about it. I just wanted it to ramp up sooner and for longer, but all up until that, I was just excited and wanting more. So Rent-A-Pal, definitely check that out. All right.
Yet.
Yeah, no. Got to. I think it's on Hulu, so it's pretty accessible. So before we get into our first movie here, let me go ahead and say what's up to the chat real quick. We've got Haunted by Horror. Hello. How you doing? Welcome. When all the horror movies start to come out, well, hopefully, you know, hopefully the good ones, I guess. We've had a couple of good ones, but I feel like if you're going to release a movie any time of year, you should have a good horror movie. It shouldn't just be during the spooky time. If you wrote a horror film and you freaking produced it and put it out there, it should be good. Yes. All right. What's up to everybody? All right. And yes, I do love the part in Silence of the Lambs where they focus on his face while he is going to town on that cop with the baton. Yes, pretty disturbing for sure. Yeah, so you know, there were moments and times where it got a little nasty, but yeah, when you see films like The Sadness and what were we talking about before, Centipede, it's a different film, you know, but I can still appreciate what those films give us, and you know, the experience that we had and continue to have. All right, so let's start with our number 5. Patrick, you go ahead with your 5th film.
Let's see. My number 5 is Relic.
Relic. I still need to see that one. Okay. And by the way, we don't know each other's top 5, so everybody is going to be surprised by each other's picks. So okay. Yes, I
So
definitely had that on high on my list.
Relic is a Relic is a it's a horror film, but it basically has used a haunted house as it's a symbolism, a haunted house as Alzheimer's.
Okay.
Oh,
And so that's the symbolism, and it's a story about a family with 3 women, 3 generations that are probably going to end up getting it. And it tells the story, and it's really moving as hell. It's moving, but it is really disturbing at the same time. And yeah, this one stayed with me for a while. That's why I have it here at number 5. The story really somebody who else is an IFC fan too also saw this, and he gave me a heads up on it, and he was right. This is a really powerful movie, and one I highly recommend. It's really good. Uh,
Awesome.
uh,
And it's not important if you have them, don't look them up if you don't have them. But by any chance, do you have the tomatoes and IMDb ratings for that one?
IMDb, and this one here's the 6.0.
Okay.
6.0, and I think part of that is honestly, Stardust, is because a rainbow, I should say. I think part of this is because of subject matter, because it's really uncomfortable.
For
You
me,
know,
a 6.0 and up on IMDb is really good.
mhm.
So if a movie is a 6.6 on IMDb, especially, definitely give it a chance. Again, like I told y'all before, I'll watch a 3.5 and a 4, but a
Right.
6.5 is like, oh, or a 6.0, 6.5, I'm like, oh, okay. It actually might be a 10 in my book, so you never know. You never know. Okay. Very cool. All right. All right. Let's go down then to Mama Monster. What's your number 5?
I have Hatching from 2022.
Yeah.
It premiered at the Sundance Film Festival.
Yes. Yes.
What's it? IMDb 6.2 out of 10, and then Rotten Tomatoes is 92%.
Yes.
I just love the coming of age story. I love body
Mhm.
horror, and I just think the story was done and told in such a unique way that hasn't been done before. So it had to be on my list.
It sure is. It's on my list as well, and it's definitely one of my favorite movies of 2022. And like you said, it's a wonderful coming of age story. This little girl becoming a woman is becoming strong, independent, despite her mother, who is not those things.
Right.
And you don't know what to expect the entire time leading up to the creature reveal. And I feel like, yeah, this is a movie we'll try to keep the spoilers low on, but it is really hard to talk about it without spoiling it. But it's a creature feature, and the young star is just amazing, because Homegirl was having a hard time finding somebody to fill this role because she basically had to play 2 different people and or roles, I should say.
Yeah.
And it's just amazingly done because it's beautiful setting. It's you have this mom who is a social media influencer, and there's flowers and glowy lights, but there's just like this scary, sinister thing at the same time happening.
Yes.
So yes, very good. I love that movie too. Good pick. All right, what's your number 5, Ian?
So it's controversial. I don't know if it's exactly midnight, but it was on the list. It was on the list that was sent out. But for me, the number 5 is of course the Lars von Trier Antichrist.
Mm.
So that for me was it made the top 5 for me. Being a bit of a cinema head and loving film, I just found the cinematography and the whole thing just really really beautiful. Although it was such a tragic story, and the narrative and the plot is absolutely horrendous, because it's a grieving couple. Their little boy jumps out the window, and that whole sequence is just absolutely mind blowing. And I remember when I first seen it, I went into the video store back in those days to rent it out, or rent it on DVD, and it was one of the very few films that had like a sticker on it that was warning you this is a very upsetting, disturbing movie. and you didn't see them very often. But I remember going to the video store like when I was younger in the 90s, and films like Basket Case and stuff like that would have these stickers on them. I hadn't seen something like this on a DVD for such a long time, and I had no idea what it was. And then when I watched it, it was like, you know, mind blowing. It was, you know, if you're familiar with Gaspar Noé and all them kind of directors, this isn't a million miles off that type
Okay.
of film. So yeah, Antichrist is
Just
it's
Antichrist. Okay, I was
yeah,
wondering. Okay,
yeah.
awesome.
Antichrist.
Such a good film.
Mm-hmm.
Antichrist was actually the first IFC Midnight film released.
Oh,
There
okay.
you go.
All right. That's what's
So
up.
such a good film. It's such poetic, but it's horrendous as well. No, there's self mutilation in it. There's, you know, some horrendous scenes and grief and sort of a decline in the madness, a little bit like the Joker film was. But it's not for the faint of heart. Definitely not.
Awesome. That's definitely added to my list. Very good. All right. So my number 5 is Contracted. I mean, it could easily be number 4, 5, or 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, maybe 4, 3, 2. But yeah, I loved this movie for so long. I watched it as soon as it came out. I don't even know how I found it. But I've been advocating for this movie for a long time because it's just a different type of movie. And you know, the dude, I forget his name at the moment. I had it written down. Where is it? Yes, Eric England. He wrote and directed this, and he just wanted something different as far as a zombie movie, and we got that. You know, we have this woman who is R-worded, and you know they used the soft term sexually assaulted, and she contracts this zombie virus that is brand freaking new, and she just slowly within 3 days becomes a zombie, and you see her eye turn nasty. She's having a terrible menstrual cycle, and all these things are happening to her while at the same time she's trying to maintain this relationship with her uh girlfriend, and this is her first girlfriend ever after having a pretty toxic relationship with her last boyfriend. And so, you know, and then at the same time she's living with her mother and trying to like show her mother that she's an adult and responsible, but all the while her health is deteriorating and she's clearly dying, but she's trying to carry on as if nothing is going on, and then also bringing other people into it, causing them problems, and it's just completely selfish, and it's just so much fun to watch every single time despite its flaws because it's a super low budget independent movie. The special effects though are amazing. There is one time where like the toilet is full of blood and it's not realistic, but aside from that toilet bowl scene in the restaurant, the makeup is just amazing, and I just love it every time. And Contracted Phase 2 is all right too. You know, they just basically recreated one with the same beats and things, just with the dude that she had sex with last in the first film. But they kind of make it a little bit too much in my opinion. It's too complicated a little bit for me, but I still like it and I still will enjoy every time that I watch it. But Contracted is just a really great film. So that's my number 5. All right. Let's then go ahead and move on to our number 4. So Patrick, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is The Devil's Doorway.
Okay, The Devil's Doorway.
Now,
Haven't seen that one either.
Ian, are you in Ireland or Scotland?
I'm in Ireland, so I'm thinking, is that film on Shudder? Was that on Shudder at the time?
It might have been, yeah, because Shudder and IFC are from the same company.
Yeah, awesome.
So this is talks about the Magdalen laundries.
Yes, a horrendous piece of Irish history.
Yes. I mean, that's what really makes this movie really interesting. Is it's typical. It has a sort of like a possession story at the end of it. But for me, what really made this movie pop out was the first half of the movie when they're talking about the history of the laundromats. That was the scary part for me in this movie. This was co-written and directed by Ashleen Clark, a terrific director. This is an amazing movie. It's a found footage film,
Okay.
But it's really, really good. And this only got a 5.3 IMDb,
Oh
but
yeah, I forgot to say
it's
mine
much
too.
better than that. It's much, much better than that, and it flies.
Very good. Yeah, that sounds really interesting. I'm definitely down to see that. And my apologies, I did forget to mention the IMDb scores and Rotten Tomato score for Contracted, which is a 5.3 on IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes has a 50% with critics and 29% with the audience. So not many people like this movie, so I definitely have to stand up and defend it every chance that I get. And it was released at the I looked up the pronunciation and now I'm forgetting it, but the Nacho International Fantastic Film Festival in 2013, and then also had a VOD release at the same time. So very good, which is obviously a body horror. All right, awesome. Okay, so Lydia, what is your number 4?
Number 4 is Would You Rather.
Yes.
From 2012, it premiered at the Screen Fest. IMDb 5.7 out of 10, and then Rotten Tomatoes 59%. So I knew that a lot of people didn't like this movie. And I've heard other people say it too, but I don't know. I'm not even gonna say it's a guilty pleasure because I don't feel guilty watching it because I
Nope.
really enjoy it. We got
Yes.
the Queen, Brittany Snow in it, and honestly, just that ending, the most messed up ending ever, that made it to my list because of that.
We
But
can
it's
totally spoil this one because yes, you said 2000. What teen? It's a teen, right? So we're good on that. But
yeah.
yes, I didn't even know because I didn't watch Pitch Perfect and all that, so I didn't even know who Brittany Snow was. I was just like,
Okay.
she's great, and everybody's just working together. Because I also watched My Name Is Earl. I forget Homeboy's name with the afro in there. I was like, oh yeah, like this like kooky guy is gonna be in this. Okay, let's see what's up, And then we had our lead guy, our serial killer, essentially. I'm forgetting his name, even though I shouldn't be forgetting it. I didn't write down the details of this one, but yeah, it's just perfectly done because she's clearly set up to kind of lose, but she's also the lead, and then she makes it to the end, all for it to just mean nothing because
For
her
nothing.
brother is
Yes.
motherfucking dead.
To get money from him.
But we got to see, limbs blow up. We got to see a person basically drown, and we just got to see, even a poor old lady die with a simple stab to her artery in her thigh.
Yes. It's just full of suspense. I love it.
Yes. We had Home Alone's dad, Mike, what's his name? Home Alone, what's his name? Kevin's dad was in there.
I forgot about that.
Yes, hold on. The guy who is a serial killer, I am just so terrible right now. I should know his freaking name because anybody listening or watching who hasn't seen it would know. Shepard Lambrick, who plays, or I'm sorry, it's Jeffrey Combs who plays Shepard Lambrick. Jeffrey Combs is just amazing. He is the star. Him and Brittany. Brittany just does an amazing job with it. She's great. So yes, I always have to advocate for poor old Would You Rather because not many people have seen it and they're like, where's the blood? I'm like, you don't always need all the blood dripping everywhere. Not always. All right, Ian, what's your number 4?
Well, my number 4 is actually your number 5, and it is Contracted. And I know we've already been over, but for such a low-budget indie horror film, it absolutely blew my mind. And some of the social commentaries in it is unbelievable. Even the first kind of sequence whenever you kind of see the not radioactive, but what's the other symbol for like zombies or whatever? What's the word? What's the thing I'm looking
Apocalypse?
For? Yeah, it's like there was like a body bag, and then on the toe it had like this like symbol. It's not radioactive, but it was
radioactive.
It has left me now the name of it, but it's to say that it's basically hazardous or something like that.
Yeah.
So obviously this guy had a freaky time with a corpse, and then that's how the virus spreads.
Biohazard.
That's
there
it.
You go.
That's it. Well done. Thank God you're here. A biohazard pick it on the body bag or the toe with a cadaver or whatever it was. And then this guy met up with this impressionable young lady at a house party. But like you said before, Rainbow, I'm not going to go into too much because we already spoke about it. But the
Go ahead.
transformation
Yes.
over the 3 days is incredible.
Yeah.
And you know, there's that scene where she kind of I think she's in panic mode and she wants other people to be like her. And you know, there's a bit where they're about to get
So
jiggy,
messed up.
and the maggots and all come. You know,
So gross.
I remember the first time I ever watched a film called Ginger Snaps, and they were turning into
Yeah.
werewolves,
Yeah.
and she goes for a pee, or he goes for a pee in the urinal, and he starts peeing blood.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
See things like that, and
Yes.
eye trauma. That's what really gets
Trauma,
me.
yeah.
So I remember watching that, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is so nasty and bad."
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm about like I wasn't overly keen on the second one, but the
Right.
the standalone, the first one was absolutely
Yes.
amazing, and I think it had the tagline. There was a tagline for the film. I remember it was something like, "If Jaws was the film that kept you out of the water, this was the film that would stop you having
Yep.
Oh.
Sex. Yep. Yep.
So,
100%.
That's a
so
good
should maybe
Or at
show this
least
film at
having one night
schools.
stands.
Right.
They should show this film at schools and say, "Listen, this is what happens if you're naughty." But listen, it was such a good film, and yeah, it made my top 5 100%.
Wonderful. That's awesome. That makes me so happy to hear. Yes. All right. Moving on into our next movie. Our next round. Let's get into number 3. Patrick, you go right on. Wait. Yes. Did I already say 4?
No, you didn't say your 4, did you?
I need to say my 4. Okay. So my number 4 is Human Centipede.
Yay.
So it had to be on there, right?
It had
the
to be
Centipede.
on there.
Love the
With-
Centipede.
Yes, with Mr. Tom Six. It's an independent Dutch film with a 4.4 on IMDb.
Wow.
48% by critics on Rotten Tomatoes and 26% from audiences. And yeah, like I mentioned before, it was just a joke at first that became a movie because he was talking about, oh, how would we punish child molesters? Oh, you know, what did the Nazis do when they were doing their actual experiments that actually happened, their medical experiments and things? Like, wouldn't it be funny if they had that? And so when he set out to make this movie, he needed investors, obviously, but all he told investors was, we're going to sew motherfuckers together and that's going to be a creepy movie. And they're like, cool. But then when the movie came out, they're like, oh, you meant ass to mouth. We didn't know that part. But luckily, most of them liked it and they were cool with it, and they just kept it moving, you know. And then he obviously did 2 and 3, and I love 2. 3, not so much. 3 is not going to make any list of mine. 3 is kind of just almost annoying to me, but I still enjoy it, especially with all 3 of them together. But yeah, what else did I write down about this movie? It premiered in 2009 at Fright Fest, and it did win a bunch of awards. One at Fantastic Fest in Austin, Texas, for Best Picture, as well as what did it win? Horror film. What? St. Maxim International Horror Film Festival. Why did I write that down? Yes. And then it also won Best Ensemble Cast in South Africa at the South African Horror Fest. And it won just a bunch of other awards, despite its, nasty nature and negative response from a lot of people that it did receive. And yeah, he has another movie called The Onaya Club that just basically won't get released because of how terrible and like obscene it is. And like he's on Twitter talking about, just like help with getting this movie released. And I'm up there just retweeting all the time because I'm super interested. Like, just like, what's up? Like, just let us see it. So yes, that is my number 4. So we're now moving on to our number 3. Patrick, what is your number 3 movie for tonight?
My number 3 is another. This is by Jennifer Kent, who directed The Babadook, but this is her follow-up film, which is the one we're going to talk about. and that's The Nightingale.
Yes, The Nightingale. Very
And
good.
this is so good.
Cover.
Yeah, this is sad as hell, but it's dark. It's dark. It's historically accurate, and it's beautifully acted, for sure. The subject matter easily falls into horror. It really does.
Yes, it does.
Uh,
Totally.
this is basically a woman who has her family taken away from her, and she wants revenge, and she's willing to just about do anything to get it. And this is really powerful. It's the tautness of the story, the direction of it, the score. Like I said, the acting is excellent. It's Yeah, I thought about this quite a bit, because it's like, because it has the similar about losing a family, and it speaks to me on that level as well. So I totally get this, and I appreciated it. I have not seen the Babadook yet. I have it, but I have not seen it. But I do think that Jennifer Kent is one hell of a director.
Yes.
And of course, this one got a really good rating on IMDb. The Nightingale got a 7.3. This is
Nice.
actually the best reviewed of all the
Wow.
movies.
Okay. Yeah, I actually started The Nightingale with Brandon, but we had a long day and we got like maybe 45 minutes into it, and we were just like, bro, she's getting R-worded, all these like, racist things are going on. It's just too much for our brain. We just got to watch this another time because it's just too depressing at this moment. But it was a really good film up until that point. I do plan on finishing it. But yeah, obviously the Babadook is really good, but
I
yeah,
think that a lot of those themes are there because she was trying to keep the movie historically accurate.
yeah, no, she was totally accurate. Like it was what it was, and you know, if I was by myself, I probably would have finished it just because I'm a masochist that way. But we were trying to have a nice evening. We thought we picked a pretty good movie, and it just wasn't the appropriate time, But I'm down to just promo through, some terrible, messed up shit. But yeah, it was pretty bad. Like there was just no relief, but it was done exactly how it happened back then, So it was perfect. Yeah. I'll finish it. Good pick. Great pick. All right. What's your number 3, Lydia?
I went with the remake Maniac from 2012.
Okay.
IMDb, yes, it's 6.1 out of 10, and then 53% on Rotten Tomatoes. It premiered at the Cannes Film Festival in France. This is a remake that I actually really enjoy, and I think Elijah Wood does a great job. I love how brutal and artsy and disturbing it is, and I think one of my favorite parts of it is just that they still, like, in 2012 showed the point of view of the killer. Like, I love that aspect of the film. So
I need to watch both of these films actually. So
yeah,
definitely on my list.
well, in the original, Tom Savini did some great work in there.
Awesome. Did you like Maniac, Patrick and Ian?
Yes, I it's sort of funny. We have a Sunday show, the IFC Midnight, and one of the guys who we had on the show, when we talked about this, we covered this movie, and right after that, he just said, "I'm good." Yeah, he said, that's enough for me, and yeah, it was but Elijah Wood is he's not new to horror. That's the thing.
No.
People see that and go like, he did that, and like Brittany Snow, she also did X.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So a lot of people, they see her playing against type, and of course when you see Elijah Wood, you immediately think of Lord of the Rings.
Right.
And there he is on Sin City.
Yeah,
He
brilliant.
played a horrible killer named Kevin. And then he did this, and he did the Maniac remake, and it's just like, holy cow! You just never look at him. You never look at him again. He's a good actor.
Oh yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's in Yellow Jackets with Christina Ricci.
Oh,
Love it.
wow. Okay.
They're like a little couple. It's so cute. I love it. Oh, little maniacs themselves. Oh, so good. All right. How about for you, Ian? Your number 3.
Yeah, so my number three is, I'm not too sure if you've heard of this before. It's called the Barbarian Sound Studio. It's directed by Peter Strickland and stars Toby Jones, who you'll remember from sort of more modern the Avengers film. He was in Captain America, the first Avenger. He was like
Okay.
the Red Skull's, I think, was it the Red Skull you call him, his right hand man. But anyway, the story is about a sound engineer or a Foley artist that goes out to Italy to work on this film, and essentially it's turns out to be a snuff film that's that he's basically doing the Foley and all the sound engineering. So I think one of the strap lines is a case of life imitating art, but he doesn't realize, he thinks it's a horror film. And when he mentions this to the director, who's one of these very sort of uptight Italian, don't call it a horror film, this is an original film, one of those type of ones, you know. It's the film. The film isn't miles off. Have you ever seen a film called a Serbian film?
Yeah, I was gonna say, it was reminding
It's
me of
not a
that
million
too.
miles off that the film that's been made, but not the actual film itself.
Okay.
And then Toby Jones's character then sort of descends into madness, and you know he's not getting paid, and days are running into weeks, and weeks are running into months, and he's spending so much time at this that he doesn't realize. And it's just really such a great art house type film, and it's a bit like again, it's a bit like Antichrist. It's just sort of filmed so beautifully, and like I love film and filmmaking, so it was interesting to see a horror film from the point of view of a Foley artist or sound engineer. You know, something you don't
Okay.
see very often, because if you
Right.
see found footage, it's always the cameraman, or it's all, you know. Do you know what I
The
mean?
the
presenter.
star of the
Yeah.
movie or whatever. Yeah.
This was unbelievable, and it goes into obviously a lot of the you know, background of Foley artists, and you know all the things that he does to make certain scenes sound squelchy and disgusting, and he's just using things like breaking celery to make it sound like broken bones, but doesn't realize that the noises that he's making is actually people actually really getting hurt. So it's a great film. So it is. So on your list on IMDb, it got 6.2 out of 10. So it could be worth a watch if you haven't seen it. And then you're going to laugh at me because I don't say tomatoes, I say tomatoes. So on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got
That's
on
okay. You can say how you want.
86%.
Ooh.
And audience score was 53%. So it's not bad. It's
Okay.
not a bad
Yeah,
film.
that's good.
I need to check
All
that.
right. Hell yeah. What was I gonna say here? Have you ever worked on a film set before?
No, but in real life, I'm actually a media teacher. So I teach film studies, and I sort of have been
Oh, nice.
learning this stuff for a lifetime.
Yes.
And I've seen some behind the scenes stuff of TV shows and stuff being made. So, you know, it's interesting from that point of view. You know, if you kind of look beyond the story and look at the cinematography and look at the lighting and look at the diegetic and non-diegetic sound in these films that we're talking about tonight. You know, even Contraction for being an indie film, so good.
Very cool. Okay. Awesome. Well, yeah, we've already talked about this one. My number 3 is The Babadook. You know, this one actually took me 2 watches to like. I cut it off the first time because that child was so annoying. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah,
And then I just kept reading the stuff that I was reading before watching it the first time. I was like, all right, let me just give it another try, and just fell the hell in love with it. It was just so beautifully done. And, you know, our lead was just so amazing. And the child, as annoying as he was the first time, he's excellent. He nailed his freaking role, you know, and
he's supposed to be terrified.
yes. And I just loved how it was kind of up to us to, you know, decide whether or not it was about mental illness or was this a supernatural movie or a bit of both, you know, because many of us, children or no children, have suffered through what she's going through, whether that be loss or just a dark time in our lives that we have to get through. And we've got these demons that we're struggling with. It was just so beautifully done on such a tight budget. And yeah, it's moving, and everything about it is just basically perfect. And I'm just so sad that I turned it off the first time, but it happened. But yes, it's definitely going to remain in one of my top lists for sure. Who else loves the Babadook? Sound off in the chat and sound off on here.
I actually don't like it.
Okay, and I
still
hear that
can't.
too. Yes,
I
because
still
it
can't get
is
into
one of
it.
those divisive ones. Because I could have stayed on that side of the fence and just been like, I'm not giving it that chance, or I could have finished it and stayed on that side of the fence, and that's totally fine because I could see where you would stay on that side even after finishing it. So yes, tell me more about why you don't like it.
For me, it's listen. I think if I give it another chance, I might have the same type of feeling about it that you have. For me, it's very it has that Game of Thrones feeling where it took me about 12 times to watch the first episode of Game of Thrones because
Okay.
I just couldn't get through it because I hated it so much, and then ended up binge watching every single episode after that.
Of course.
Not a,
Okay.
I was
Okay.
about,
and
yeah, I
not
was like,
not
what?
and of course not saying that where I'm from is the best place in the world, but I actually live close to quite a lot of the Game of Thrones film locations here. So I kind of thought there's this huge program being made in my country, and I seem to be the only person that can't get into it. But yeah, I did, and with the Babadook, it was kind of the same, and I was kind of thinking there's a lot of more. There's a lot of better Australian horror films out there, like Wolf
Mm.
Creek, and and I enjoyed that more. But for me, it took a little. But that being said, I didn't like Hereditary the first time I watched it either, and absolutely adore that film now. So I think I'll give it another go and try it again. But I just have to
Yes.
get maybe another 8 goes at trying to get through it, and then
Because
we'll
it does
see.
have a 6.8 on IMDb, 90% from critics on Rotten Tomatoes, and 72% from the audience. And it did make an $8 million profit. And it premiered in 2014, which was so long ago. I'm so sad that it took me freaking this long to get on the freaking train. Because even when it was released, she actually uh made and signed like about 2,000 Babadook books that people would be able to buy when they
Oh,
got
that's cool.
their ticket to the screening. Yeah, I'm like, man, had I just been on board, that could have been me. And it was obviously an extension of her short film Monster, which is actually on YouTube. So if you go into my description of this live, you'll see my Babadook video with Fever Dreamland Theater. And then in that video, you'll see the link to the short film that she expanded upon, which was just also really well done. It was in black and white. She almost did Babadook in black and white, but decided against it, which I'm actually in favor for. I don't mind black and white, but I think this was just better with the pastels and the moodiness of it. It just worked nicely with color. Awesome. All right, so now we're getting into our top two. All right, Patrick, so what is your number 2 film out of 5?
My number 2 features my number 1 favorite actress. She is luminous and lovely and talented and very skilled. And the movie we'll be talking about is Swallow. So yeah, when we're talking about doing IFC and IFC films, and I thought about this, and I think this is the reason why this got an IFC release more than IFC Midnight was because they're going for a broader audience. When
Sure.
IFC Midnight instantly puts you into a horror genre, and I don't think they didn't want to do that necessarily, and I'm so glad they didn't because this is a horror film, but it's also a lovely story. Yeah, it's a lovely story. It's so
Lovely.
lovely in the sense that like it shows how this woman has to deal with her marriage. She has to she it's really I thought it was really effective, and
No, it
I
was
really
effective. Yeah.
I really thought it was effective. You really feel sorry for her,
Yes.
and super uncomfortable. I mean, you're talking like we're watching this movie because it's depicting pick, which is a condition where people will swallow things, all sorts of things, and that's what she does. And there's a scene in there where she comes up to this object and she puts it on the table and she's looking at it like, do I want to swallow it or not? And you're literally you are as a viewer, you're sitting there and you're breaking out in highs because you just don't like. She's not going to do that, but then she does, and you're just like you're memorized. I mean, it's like what's she gonna do next, and how far will this go? Um, but I thought her Haley Bennett's performance
Yes.
was I thought it was Oscar worthy, and she should have been nominated for an Oscar. for this film. I felt like she was definitely cheated.
I definitely loved the build up for this movie for sure. Like it just kept building and building and building. Like what's gonna happen next? But then the ending was just kind of for me almost like a fizzle out. It was like, oh well, then that's it. Okay, it was like it should have been more grandiose in my opinion. But I get where it was just kind of like the simple everyday person story or ending, but
Right.
it was leading up to something greater than what it fizzled out to be, in my opinion. But I liked the movie regardless.
I thought the director Carlos Mirabella Davis. I thought he played it right with the ending. Because
Okay.
it didn't give you it wasn't a package box hour and a half.
No,
This
yeah.
movie's going to be a lot more. This story is going to take a lot longer than that to tell. And he really couldn't have ended it. He really couldn't have ended it without made it being just a typical Hollywood movie. Start, beginning, and end. And not every
Yeah.
movie is like that.
Right.
Some movies need to have that open end, so as a viewer you can sit and you can watch it and then you can talk about it and see and figure out where would it go, where would he take us, where was he trying to go, and I like movies like that. I'm not everything I needs to be compartmentalized. Doesn't have to be all in a neat package. But
I'm
Swallow definitely is it's definitely one of my favorites. It's definitely my second favorite IFC film, and I just love the performance by Haley.
I think maybe two. I've only seen it one time, and I could be wrong about this, but I feel like I remember just wanting something bad to happen to the husband, and it just
Oh,
doesn't. I'm
yeah,
like, oh, like it's not over. Like I need something to happen to him, but oh well.
yeah, he needed to be punished in some way. The
Yeah,
part where he's calling her doctor behind her therapist behind her back. I mean,
yeah,
I think he did it from a viewpoint. I mean, he's like, does he really love her, or is it more just like a trophy wife? Like he wants to walk into any room
right.
and have his wife on the side looking as lovely as she does, because that's only going to help him in his career. Or does he have genuine feelings for her? And I think he initially did, but he had no idea how to cope with this.
No, he just wanted the surface level things. He thought it was going to be easy. He doesn't even really know exactly what he wants. He might even just be a surface level person,
Mhm.
but he could also be deeper than he is. He just hasn't explored it yet. And yeah, it was just such a hollow relationship that was just based off.
You really feel sorry for the
Mm-hmm.
you really do. She was just she wasn't a bubblehead at all. She was smart and intelligent, had her own interests and everything else,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
she really wasn't able to out there and express herself. And knowing a lot of women, surprisingly so, shockingly so, who are in that position where they really can't express themselves within their own home.
No, yeah.
It's an interesting tale.
Yes. Very good. All right. What's your number two, Lydia?
I have What Keeps You Alive from 2018.
Dang, I haven't seen a lot of your movies.
No, it premiered at the SXSW Film Festival. IMDb 5.7 out of 10, and the Rotten Tomatoes is 80%.
You said, what do you know?
What keeps you alive?
What keeps you alive? Okay.
You're making up your own name.
I really am. Whole ass new movie. Okay.
So I saw this, I think, last year for the first time I think it's on Netflix and it's on Amazon Prime, but I went in totally blind, not knowing anything about it. And I was like, yeah, I was like pleasantly surprised. There's like this plot twist and the brutality of this film is just, it's great.
Hell yeah. Okay. What's what would you say the log line or the plot is to it?
Well, we got a wife and a wife, and then well, they're celebrating their first anniversary, and then if you want to go in blind, just like go in blind. I was like,
okay.
I don't want to say anything else.
You said brutality. That's enough to sell me for sure. Okay. Yeah. What keeps you alive? IFC Midnight Super Brutal. Got it. Okay. Sounds good to me. And what'd you say the IMDb was again, the rating?
A 5.7 out of 10.
Okay, nice. That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, what about you, Ian? What's your number 2?
My number two didn't. My number two actually didn't make it on your list at all, and it was the Autopsy of Jane Doe.
That's a good one.
That is almost got the top spot, but it was just pipped by another film. Again, it was a bit like Contracted. Whenever I first seen this film, it was absolutely mind blowing. And what a cast! Brian Cox, the great Scotsman himself, a fantastic actor, and Olwen Kelly, the most beautiful corpse I've ever seen in my life. He's actually an Irish model in real life.
Yes,
So,
she's probably the most famous corpse for
yeah.
sure. Beautiful,
Next to
famous
Anna
corpse.
Fritz. Anna Fritz is a famous corpse as well. So of course Anna Fritz.
Okay.
But
Insomnia.
yeah, such
With,
a great film, and just it's like the biggest onion in the world. There's so many layers to that film, and the more
Yeah.
you peel back, it's like it's mysterious bodies turned up. Now it's there's paranormal activity. Now it's a witch. Now, it was just crazy. It was just a roller coaster, and it was absolutely fantastic. And one of my all-time favorite horror. I love those horror films that just catch you off guard. You know nothing about it, and then all of a sudden it's wow. This is a fantastic film. As another film was a little bit like that, kind of digress a little bit, was a found footage film called The Bay. Don't know if you ever seen that before.
Oh yes, that one's good.
That's such a good film, and I'd never heard of it before, and then went in blind, and it's like Lydia said, go in blind and think you'll enjoy it more.
Yeah.
But the Autopsy of Jane Doe was just crazy, and then I had the pleasure last year speaking to a couple of people that worked on a video game called The Mortuary's Assistant, and it was very much the same as that film. And the lead cast, Melissa Medina, who plays the mortuary's assistant, the main character you play in the game, she was making reference to this film, and that got me into it even more because I've watched it so many times, and I've watched it recently as well. But such a great film, such a good film, and I don't imagine it cost a lot of money to make that film as well. I think it could be. I think it's classed as indie. I would say it's an indie horror film. It's definitely within them realms, and for me it was just mind blowing, and highly recommend it. So I got a 6.8 on IMDb, and on the old tomato scale, I don't know. I'll have to check that out. Hang on a second. Rotten Tomatoes. I need to go back on that. What did I get on that? You're probably faster.
It's just funny how Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb can differ so much sometimes. At this point, I don't even trust Amazon Prime reviews. It could say 4 or 5, and I don't even care what the hell Amazon has to say.
I don't really go on based on that.
The tomato meter got 86%, and the audience scored to get 71%. So
nice.
It's up there. It's nice.
Yes, that's another one that was a subscriber request for me, which I'm super glad was recommended to me. My subscriber and patron requests have always just introduced me, like I'd say maybe 2 to 4 movies I had already seen and loved, and the rest of them were movies that I was introduced to, and for the most part fell in love with and started promoting myself, because sometimes they just they don't get enough attention, and Autopsy of Jane Doe is definitely one of those, and I really enjoyed that one. I definitely want to see Andre's new film, Voyage of the Demeter, very soon too, just because of that, and I think I saw another one of his films that I really enjoyed too. So yeah, really good pick. That was definitely in my honorable mention. So yes, awesome pick. All right, we're moving on up. Oh wait, no, I'm doing my number 2. Sorry, I keep thinking freaking Ian's last for some reason. Anyway, so I'm last, which is for me number 2 would be Baskin, directed and written by John Evernal, a Turkish film that I have also reviewed on my channel, and it's got a 5.8 on IMDb, 80% from critics on Rotten Tomatoes, and 47% from audiences, which I really don't understand. It won Best New Director at Fantastic Fest and won the Director's Award at Morbido Fest, and it was an extended version from his short film, also named Baskin, and was released in 2015 at the Toronto International Film Festival. And it's just an awesome surrealist movie where we have these officers traveling in a van who basically get called to basically get called for backup at another scene. And when they arrive, it's this place that is just depraved and a little bit supernatural, but definitely disgusting. And we've got orgies happening at some points or another. And we've got a dude licking a knife who doesn't look like your normal person. And just so many things happening. It's beautiful. It's disgusting. It's confusing. But, you know, in my mind, when I think of this movie, I think of just floating blood and water, as well as the dude who, when you look up the name Baskin, the film, you just see this guy licking a nasty old knife, you know, that he definitely uses on his potential cult members. Either these people are going to be his cult members, or they're going to die, because him and his people screwed the hell out of them until they literally died. You know, it's a little bit of sadness in there. The movie, the sadness in there, mixed. It's really hard to compare this movie to really anything. But the reason why the sadness comes up is because, you know, in that movie, you think of just people being drenched in blood and people screwing, you know, and we got a little bit of that in Baskin. But it's not gross just for the sake of being gross. It's basically a long ass dream sequence, and it's just beautifully done by John Evernall, spelled Can. And he's got another film currently in production that I am just so excited to see. It would be his second feature film. So that is a movie that you should definitely check out. 2015 fantasy gore surrealist film Baskin. Has anybody seen that one?
Yeah, I've
I
seen it. It's
haven't.
absolutely brilliant.
No.
No, I have not seen that one yet.
Okay,
Absolutely
I'm
great.
very interested to see what you say, Patrick. I'm very interested. Did you like The Sadness, or did you watch The Sadness, Patrick?
I have not seen The Sadness. I'm still waiting to get a copy of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've heard nothing but great things about it, though.
What about Terrifier? You like Terrifier?
Yeah, I love Terrifier.
Okay, okay.
Terrifier is great.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I thought I haven't seen Terrifier 2, but I love the first Terrifier. I think
Yeah.
Art the Clown is definitely he's definitely the cast me out. He's very fun to watch.
He's the new one. Yep, he's the new one to
Takes
look
it
out
to a whole
for.
different level in two.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Sure does.
I heard he goes really crazy in part 2.
He's coming back, or Terrifier 2 is coming back to theaters very soon. I might have to check it out maybe one more time. 2.5 hours is pretty long, so I don't know if I want to do it twice, but I'm like, well, maybe, you know, it's coming back. Might as well. We'll
Is it
see.
2.5 hour long?
it's
Yeah,
long.
it's too long. It's too long.
Yeah, I agree.
But I still like it. But yeah, it's definitely too long. All right. So I think we've made it now to our number one. All right. Patrick, what is your number one pick?
Anybody who knows me already knows what my number one's going to be, and always will be from now until the end of time. And we will go back to Ireland for this one, and that will be a dark song.
Okay, a dark song. Adding that to my list. I haven't seen that one.
This is my favorite movie the last 15-20 years. Yeah, this is extremely personal movie. Totally can relate to it. When I watched it, I was just blown away by it, and understood it. A young mother loses her child. The child's taken away from her and killed, and she wants revenge. So she hires an occultist to do that, to basically raise, to bring her child back, or to talk to her guardian angel for revenge. And it is a terrific film. It is moving as hell, powerful. The ending is mind blowing. Never seen an ending never seen an ending in a movie like this. Yeah, the first time I saw this, I admit I bawled my eyes out at the end.
Yeah.
But this is a very, very strong film, and it is not. It's scary in the sense, like, and you'll see that they have to do this procedure. They're doing a spell to raise up this angel, and the spell itself is actually based on a real one by Aleister Crowley. So
Okay.
this is not for the lighthearted. There's some very scary symbolisms in here, but the movie itself is just top notch, beautifully acted. It's a two-character film, and
Oh,
it's one that will stay with you forever. It's definitely my very 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 favorite.
was it you or Ian that had the other movie where they stole the toddler?
Oh,
That was
Ian
the
had it.
Okay, okay. I was gonna
the
say,
film that I
Patrick, if you had
watched
two
recently.
toddler stealings, come on now.
No, no, but her child in the movie suffers the same fate as the child in Ian's short.
Okay, damn. Oh yeah, the short. That's right. That's right. That was the short. Okay. Damn. Yeah, that does sound pretty sad. It's a good one for a tearjerker when you need it.
But it's scary at
Sometimes.
the same time. And let me tell you, it's very scary. It's disturbing as well because it's rooted in reality. The spell that they cast is a true spell. So if
Wow.
you're into supernatural horror and stuff like that,
Yeah.
this is right up your alley.
So how many films of yours were IFC Midnight films? Actual IFC Midnight.
All of the total 10. Oh, the
5.
total 5. They were three midnights
Okay.
and two regular ISCs,
Okay, I'll swallow and you're number 1, right?
and the Nightingale.
Okay, so 3
So
IFCs.
relic with IFC Midnight, the Devil's Doorway, and a Dark Song.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so Dark Song is Midnight. Perfect. Okay, very cool. I think, yeah, by the way, all of mine happened to be IFC Midnight, even though there were a couple of IFCs where I was like, I want to include that one, but I didn't because, yeah, Centipede and Hatching, and yeah, just kind of nudged those out. All right, well, what is your number 1, Lydia?
My number 1 goes to my favorite movie that came out last year, Watcher.
Oh, yes, that's a
Yeah,
good
Oh,
one.
so
Yes.
it came out to theaters at the time. I was living in Germany, and it did not come out anywhere near me, so I had to wait for it to come on video. But once I saw it, I was just instantly in love.
Yeah.
IMDb 6.3 out of 10, and then 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think Micah Monroe is phenomenal in this movie, and
Mhm.
her husband pisses me off throughout the whole movie.
So much.
And I think this movie is genuinely creepy, and I don't feel that too often, and that movie gave that to me. So
Yes. This was a good one that definitely took me a while to watch as well. Unfortunately, because I loved her in It Follows. It Follows is one of my all-time favorites.
Oh,
I
is it?
freaking
me
love
too.
that movie so much. And so, yeah, I only watched this one a few weeks ago, which is unfortunate. And for me, it did kind of drag a little bit. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, like I get it. And because Josh Hartnett, who I also just adore,
Oh, I
and
love
he stopped acting because he wanted to stay close with his family and friends. He didn't want to get too freaking famous. Okay, good guy, awesome.
He's a
And
good
you
guy.
and then you come back and you're this fucking asshole. Like, I hate you right now, you know? But, it was done really well because that ending was just so perfect. And this is a 2022 movie, so we won't spoil it too much, but
Right.
um that ending was really good, and she was awesome. She was perfect throughout the whole thing. As despite it being kind of slow, I think when I watch it my second and third time, I'm just gonna fall more deeply in love with
Oh,
this
yeah.
movie. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 so far,
Okay.
and
That's
yeah,
not
it's
bad.
it's really good. I definitely recommend to everybody to watch The
No,
Watcher for sure.
her husband's somebody else, not Josh Hartnett, though. I forgot who her husband is.
It's
But
not Josh Hartnett.
no, but I do love Josh Hartnett.
It's gotta be Josh. Hold on, let me see.
No, I
Hold
forgot the guy's name. He's a very handsome guy, though.
hold on, let me see. Wait, yes, hold on. This is the show. The show was actually pretty good too, up until the freaking last episode. We're not talking about that right now. But the
Oh, yeah,
show is
very
so
good
annoying.
show.
Hold on, let me find. Wait, is it just Watcher? It's just Watcher, not
It's
The
just
Watcher.
Watcher, yeah.
Okay, hold on. Because I want to say I could say for sure. Oh man. Oh, it's the guy from Gaspar Noé's film Love. That's why I recognize his face, because Love is one of my favorite movies from Gaspar Noé. Carl Glusman is who her husband
That's his
is.
name.
What did Josh Hartnett just recently do? Because I just watched.
He was
something.
on the latest season of Black Mirror.
That might have been it. Oppenheimer. He was in Oppenheimer too.
Was he in there? I haven't seen it yet, so.
Yes, he was. I did see
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah, I love me some Josh Hartnett.
Yep. All right. Very good. So, what is your number one, Ian?
So my number one is a British horror film, and it's called Ghost Stories.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not too sure if
good
you've
one.
seen it or not, but it is
No.
absolutely
Excellent.
fantastic. Directed by Jeremy Dyson and Andy Nyman, who's actually star of the show.
Okay.
So the film basically follows like this skeptical professor who's trying to debunk the paranormal, and it turns out that one of his heroes that he used to watch growing up, that was also like a paranormal debunker as well, that reaches out and contacts him, and he's on his deathbed, and he basically wants Andy Nyman's character to basically see that these things are real. He tried to debunk them, but really there wasn't, and there was 3 cases that he couldn't solve, and he wanted this professor to go and have a look at them and see for himself. So there's 3 ghost stories that all lead to this like penultimate story at the very end.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just full of people that I would watch. One of the characters is played by
Martin
a
Freeman.
comedian called what's his name now? Oh, it's left me, but I get his name here. 2 seconds. It's absolute. Paul Whitehouse. He used to do a show called Reeves and Mortimer here in the UK, and it was a bit of a cult kind of a program. And to see him in a film like this was really, really out there, and he was absolutely brilliant. And then obviously Martin Freeman's in it. You'll recognise Martin Freeman. He was in a great zombie film called Cargo, if you've seen that. And
Okay.
I think he's in all them Avengers films as well. But he was the original Jim in The Office in the UK, but he was called Tim and Jim. He was Jim's character in The Office in the UK whenever Ricky Gervais first brought that out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So seeing these guys in all these kind of roles is really, really interesting. But such a good film, beautiful storytelling, absolutely mind blowing. Again, now I'm not going to tell you what happens at the end. Patrick knows what I'm talking about here.
Yeah, it's a
The
beautiful
ending
movie.
of this
It's
movie
one that'll
will
stay with
blow your
you.
mind.
Yeah.
Awesome. What would you say, Ian, is your favorite genre of horror or subgenre of horror film?
That's a hard one because I do enjoy the old paranormal stuff.
Yeah, that's what I
but-
feel like, right?
But Halloween is my favorite all-time horror film, simply because, again, of the movie making, because it was a low-budget film, with old William Shatner mask getting spray painted white, everything about that was such amazing. But in terms of probably the subgenres, yeah, I love the paranormal stuff, and I'm a big Ghost Adventures fan. I love watching that. I don't know if you've watched that or not, but
Yeah.
I love all that kind of stuff as well. But yeah, Ghost Stories, absolutely amazing. Check it out. I think it's
Ghost Stories is amazing. There's another movie that came out, Ian, that you might want to look into. Had a sort of somewhat similar premise, but it was really stylized. It's called Doom Room, and it falls almost along the same lines, but it has a really interesting ending as well. But
What's that movie called, Patrick?
it's called Doom Room.
Doom D-O. Okay, no.
I'll write it in the chat.
Yeah, I'm just Googling it now. Oh, yes, excellent. There's a 20...
Yeah, I've heard of that one. I haven't seen it, though, Dim Room.
Oh, that's a different one.
Yeah, a lot of people might get away from it because it came out on Wild Eye, but it's one of those rare Wild Eye films that came out that it actually is really, really strong. It's a great movie.
I'm going to have to check it out then.
Brilliant. Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of movies on y'all's list that I have to watch now.
Yeah, very, very art house,
Yeah.
but really, really good. And
Some
they
of
made
those,
it in England.
Yeah, some of those art house films, work really, really well, or they're really, really bad. I don't know if you ever. There's a film came out in January this year called Skinamarink. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Oh,
I didn't. I was gonna bring that up. Bring that up here, but we're gonna be doing a. We're gonna be talking about it next month. Because I watched it, and that's an interesting movie.
Hmm.
I couldn't get into it. Should I try again?
I don't
Yeah,
know. I ended up getting the migraine watching it. It was just so many. It was like watching the TV on standby. All it was crazy. There's one or two sort of really upsetting scenes in it, but I don't know. It's not for me. But that's not saying it's a bad film. It's just not for me.
Right, right.
I think
it's one I couldn't
when
get into.
people ask me what I think, I always tell them. I just tell them, yes, watch it again because there is an ending to it. I mean, there is
Yeah,
a decisive ending.
True.
yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for holding it down, you guys. All right. So I will get into my number one, and we have already talked about it, but we can talk about it even more, which is Hatching. My one or two top favorite films of 2022. Body Horror from Anna Borgholm. On IMDb, it has a 6.2, and on Rotten Tomatoes, a 92% and 61 with audiences. And it premiered at Sundance on April 29th, 2022. And again, this is just one of the best creature features there ever freaking was. How much did you like this one, Patrick?
I have heard nothing but awesomeness.
No.
I could watch it, but I'm still trying to wait for my copy to come down through the library.
Okay, yeah. All right.
But I do know the movie. I do know the story. So
Oh,
yeah. So
that's
you
too
are right.
bad. You should have been in there a little bit, more blind, but that's okay. That's okay. You'll probably still enjoy it just as much.
I agree.
Yeah. The last IFC movie that I watched was Consecration with Jenna Malone, and
Okay.
I absolutely loved that movie.
That's not the one where she's like a drug mule, right?
No.
No, okay. Or like directing a drug mule.
This is
I just saw.
it's an IFC Midnight Supernatural film.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like her a lot. One of
I
my
do
favorite
too.
movies with her is The Ruins. That will always be in my
Oh,
top
great film.
50. Ugh,
Great film.
The
Jenna
Ruins.
Malone's a treasure.
I go back to stepmom.
Yes. Like I hated her in that movie.
I
So it's like
know.
it was such a struggle to like her in the films that
Yes.
she's been in because
Yes.
of that character, but I like her. She's just
Right.
good. I'm like, all right. I guess I'm over my childhood hatred of you. I'll get
I
over it now.
know.
She was such a brat.
He was.
God.
He really was. Awful.
Oh, yay. All right. So I think we just completed our top 5. Very good. Well, anybody who is still here in the chat, if you want to sound off on what your top 5 IFC Midnight films are, go ahead and throw them into the chat. If they're not IFC Midnight, but they are IFC films, that's okay too. So we're gonna actually just go around real quick and just do some plugs. Let us know what you've got going on your channel or just in life, or just share anything you feel like sharing. And we'll go ahead and start with Patrick. What you got going on, which I'm sure is always something with that 8 questions special you've got.
Yeah, we're doing it again tonight at 8:00. We're going to be talking to a young director and screenwriter, Stephen King Simmons.
Wow. Okay.
He has made 2 feature films, one called The Parker Sessions, and one that's about ready to hit into post-production called Lead Belly. So we'll be talking to him at 8:00. We also do the IFC Midnight Show the last Sunday of every month. And we have 4 nights. We have our friend Horror with Haas.
Woo!
We also have Mary Wilson.
Woo!
And of course, the mighty Ben from the Cadaver Club is there, along with myself. And along with our former knights, who actually, I don't know if you know this or not, but when we did the movies, we picked movies out, like, okay, and whoever hosts the show gets to pick the movie.
Oh, okay.
So guess who picked the Human Centipede when we did that?
You?
No, it wasn't me. It was Coriander from the Night Watch show.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Hell
Every
yeah,
time you
she
see
knows what's up.
Yeah, every time you see Coriander from now on, ask her how she picked the human centipede. And of course, Knight was also a co-founding member of the IFC Midnights.
Oh,
We
cool.
will be on Horror with Haas's channel this Sunday on the 24th of September, and we'll be talking about The Den.
Nice. Okay, very cool. Very good. All right, what do you got coming up, Miss Lydia?
Oh, I've been so behind ever since, I moved and then I moved again and then
Yeah, tell me about moving. I remember you saying something on social media. What's going on with all that? You were in Germany not that long ago?
So my husband's military, so we were in Germany for the last 7 years. And then
Wow.
so he was supposed to go to Korea and then it got canceled, so he went to Colorado, which I think we talked about. I said I want to be. That's right. Where I want to be too. But so then we can link up, But
yeah.
So he's there right now, and then we came back home, and I'm from Oklahoma, so I'm back in Oklahoma. Me and my kids are here.
Okay.
So we were staying with my dad for a little bit for like 7 months. And then, so I just moved into a new spot for just me and the kids in July. So I've been doing that in school and stuff and working. So it's just been kind of chaotic. So I've been behind. Yeah, I'm posting stuff, but I'm trying to I did do some, in June, some vlogs. I did go to Denver, well, not just Denver, Colorado in July and did some vlog stuff there too. So I just have to edit all that. Yeah. And then, so I'll be posting those soon. And then October, hopefully I'll be on track and I can do my cosplay review movies. That's what I really want to do. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. Very cool. Yeah. Yes, you've got a lot on your plate, so definitely don't let any pressure get to you. Your content will come when it comes.
Yes,
people aren't going to be giving you no hard time. So yes, definitely do you until then. Very cool. I'm excited to see that stuff. All right, Ian, how about you? What's going on with your podcast?
There's not many podcasts. There's not one podcast on the channel. It's just all full of shorts and random reviews that seem to be
amazing shorts, by the way. Really great edited, awesome shorts.
I do scour TikTok and that for the most random things that don't get very many views, and then pop it up in mine. And of course, I give the old creators a nod and stuff. But that being said, I'm dying to get back into the podcast, and I had a thing last year where I was talking about video games and stuff. It was okay. But horror is kind of where it's at, and that's what I've always sort of been into, And I came back to that just in this year in January. But the channel's going well in terms of not doing very much, so it's kind of catch-22. I want to be doing stuff, but it's doing well without me doing anything. But that being said, no, I want to get back into talking to people and stuff, and talking about things that I love talking about. I'd love to do a John Carpenter podcast, not with John. With John Carpenter, it'd be amazing. But I love to talk about John Carpenter films and stuff like that. So and then Halloween's coming. That's a bit like our Christmas, isn't it?
Right.
That's kind of when we kind of pull in the numbers and get a few extra subscribers.
Get the wheels greased again. Yeah,
that's it. And Patrick's on that amazing 31 days to Halloween. So I've subbed to the two channels there this afternoon in my time. Whenever the post went up, and that's the great thing about these conversations, is that you get to meet amazing people, and I'm looking forward to watching Patrick's stuff and catching up with Lydia's new videos whenever she's back in action, which is fantastic, So it's good that way. But in terms of what moving forward, I don't know. There's something coming very soon. What it is, I don't know. But my luck is going to run out. And I'm going to end up with no more subscribers and no more views because I'm just sitting on my backside, not doing very much. But that being said, Halloween's coming up. I'm going to try and get something sorted out for that. And hopefully something good. So just a quick plug. I don't know if anybody in here's keen for it or interested, but is anybody excited for the new Exorcist film coming out in September or in October?
I'm down.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what they do.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Personal beef with that film. I have beef with that film. That film got me banned from TikTok.
Oh yeah, the preview, the trailer.
No way.
I previewed the trailer and I got banned. I didn't even get 3 strikes. I got an automatic Get the hell out of here. So
But that's so weird with the
Are you
trailers. 'Cause
serious?
I can show the trailer all day on YouTube. I haven't tried it
Yeah.
on TikTok, but why would TikTok be that strict? Because they're less stringent than YouTube. That's so weird.
yeah. So it was doing
That
well
is
in that. It had
weird.
over 2,000 followers and everything was going well, nearly 1 million views, and then one day it just went in and it was your couch.
Maybe picking and choosing on there.
Yeah.
Like,
I
Could
think
be.
they have a real issue with horror people. I know a
Yeah,
lot of
they
horror.
do.
There's a great content creator on there that had 500,000 followers, and her channel got pulled because of the Orphan First Kill trailer.
Are you
Oh.
serious?
And that was only recently. That film's
That's
been out
awful.
ages.
That is
So
awful.
Instagram
so-
does that too. When you try to post comments on there, if you mention horror films or horror fan or horror this or horror that, they won't let you post. You have to take it out.
Wow.
And
So
that's a
annoying.
sad thing because this community is probably the best community in the world, and everyone that loves horror films are probably the nicest, placid, down to earth people that you could meet.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh, so frustrating. Like YouTube, yeah, if you type in horror as a hashtag, it doesn't pop up. You can throw it
No.
on there, but I still feel that it negatively impacts you if you type in horror or horror movies. So I just type in creepy or scary movies or
Yeah.
thrillers, because when you type in a word, it'll pop up with all these options. But when you type in horror, nothing comes up. So because of that, I feel like, and because of the demonetization of many horror videos, using that hashtag is detrimental. But at this point, I'm just like, I'll avoid using the word horror. But if my video or whole channel gets demonetized, I don't care, because I'm just going to keep working towards sponsorships and other avenues of making money, because
Right.
the horror community is just not going to make money through the platforms that it's using. Maybe Odyssey, but definitely not YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, unfortunately. But hopefully only some of my videos get demonetized instead of my whole channel. But if the whole channel becomes demonetized, screw it. I'm just going to rely on my merch, my patrons, and my sponsors if I get any,
Yeah.
So screw it.
Are you
fair.
selling little bags of Stardust yet?
Sorry.
Are you selling little bags of Stardust yet?
Not yet. When I do have merch, it will be
Don't be,
worth your
don't be
while.
fooled, Patrick. It's not stardust. It's remains of people. It's ashes.
I mean, technically, if I cut off my hair and put it in a little bag, that'd be some stardust for you. If I cut off your
That would work.
finger, that would be some stardust for you. Send some bags of fingers to people as
That's-
stardust,
Just don't oversell too much.
right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Got to keep up with the demand and the supply. Okay.
I want a drop of your blood. That's my Stardust. Can you send me?
Oh my goodness.
A little vial. I'll send out vials to people. There you go. With some glitter, blood and glitter. There you go. You can wear it
Oh, there you
around
go.
your neck.
That's a good one right
Little
there.
necklace.
Start the
Okay.
Well,
folding process.
and also they're also, speaking of Jenna Malone and IFC, they actually did a movie based on David Bowie with Jenna Malone called Stardust.
Did they?
They did.
Didn't they just do a David Bowie movie recently?
I think they did Elvis, but I don't know if they did. They did
Huh.
that. But the thing, what it was, the movie that it got totally like didn't hit was because it was supposed to be about David Bowie, but the producers could not get any rights to any of his music. So it was a movie about David Bowie without any of his music. Didn't go.
Oh
Didn't go.
no, that's so
Wow.
dumb.
Yeah,
So
sort of hard to do that when you have no music.
they got all like the kids bop versions of his songs.
Right, Not worth the watch.
Oh no, I do remember this cover art though. Yeah, that was pretty recent. Okay, fun. Yeah, I guess I don't really listen to too much of his music to race toward this, but it looks like a good one to check out. Well, on my channel, what do I have coming up? Like I told y'all before, we've got Devil's Candy coming out on Friday, which was Mr. Dan's request. And then also I'll be over on Max Zed's channel. I've been on his channel several times. It's a super fun channel where we talk about movies and really dissect them with 3 to 5 of us. But this, not this Saturday, but next Saturday on the 16th, we'll be watching House on Haunted Hill live. So we'll just be talking and watching it. If you guys want to press start at the same time with us, you can hang out and do that. And then the very next day, I'll be doing a live stream with the folks doing our top 5 A24 films. And Patrick had an awesome idea where maybe down the line we do a battle between top A24 films and IFC films, because they are sometimes pretty similar. They got the same kind of vibe. So that might be something to look out for, in the future. And then that same day, a couple hours after that live, I'll be doing Guilty Pleasures over on Master Chaos's channel. And again, those movies, we were going to talk about it last month, but it got postponed to this month. We'll be talking about Chopping Mall and what was the other one? Garbage Pail Kids.
Oh my goodness.
These are not my picks. I just want to reiterate that, profusely. These movies are not my picks. Garbage Pail Kids, holy crap.
That was my movie growing up, though.
I didn't watch it. Thankfully, I was shielded from that until now.
Just blame it on Jose.
Oh
No, I am. His friends, him and his friends got the worst picks out of the Guilty Pleasures, the group that we got going on. Lord have mercy. And, so this will be our fifth show rather, and our sixth show is finally going to be my turn. So the last Guilty Pleasures episode will be in October, but I'm keeping my Guilty Pleasures picks a secret until then. So that's happening on the 17th, and then on the 21st in my Discord stream, we'll be watching Sissy. So if you want to participate in that, you can become a patron at my Patreon page, which is patreon.com/rainbowfright. And then my last video of September is going to be on the 22nd, which is a reaction of my first time watch of The Love Witch, which was a really fun watch. Anybody seen The Love Witch?
yes, I love it.
From 2016.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was a good one. I love the 60s retro vibe. Yes. Yes. So, well, thank you very much to everybody for joining us. We had Casey, we had Michael, we had Katie, we had Haunted by Horror. We had all kinds of folks in here, and I just appreciate everybody for joining in. And I will hopefully see you guys on the 17th when I do my next live. And everybody here in the chat, or, my guests, please stay here as I close out the stream. Thanks again, everybody. Peace.